In Media Watch tonight, James Creedon's here to talk about the online tributes to Steve Jobs, but not everybody has nice things to say. Clearly, a successful person has one side that people praise, but obviously another side that people maybe are less impressed by.
And trying to kind of put it in perspective to an extent, I suppose, but still on the front page of the websites this evening, Mark, as you can see on the New York Times here, Apple's visionary redefined digital age. So that's still well over 24 hours later on the front page of the American newspapers. On the French papers, less so. I was looking at their websites earlier, and it's not actually featuring on the front page anymore. This is a tech website in the US. They had a full-page tribute, to him most of the day. Now they're going to something a little bit more measured. Online as well, things like iSad, you've got hashtags which organise these little messages that people put up on Twitter. This one earlier I thought was quite good. 3 apples changed the world: Adam and Eve, Newton's Apple, and finally Steve Jobs' Apple. You've got another tweet here which I thought was worth showing. I never thought I could be so busted up. I suppose that's an American talking about being emotional about the loss of someone I never met. That was the top tweet on the hashtag Steve Jobs.
Ashton Kutcher, the actor, yeah?
That's right, and it was the top tweet. So a lot of people tweeting about that today. Videos as well being uploaded all throughout the day. This is on the Storyful website. The day he launched the Macintosh back in '85, a speech he gave at Stanford University in 2005. And actually we'll take a look at a little clip from that because many people found it very inspirational.
Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary.
Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your inner voice.
It's kind of almost prophet-like stuff. And
it's philosophy, isn't it? It's
exactly.
Brilliant.
And what a lot of people were saying is he did have a lot of genius, but he had the genius to surround himself with other very talented people. And sort of like a singer who gets all the credit for, the song that he or she sang, the composer and the technical people in the background and all of the designers, composer I suppose for a singer in a singer's case, but the designers for the Apple products didn't perhaps get as much of the credit as Steve Jobs himself.
So he's like Mick Jagger and the rest of the bands like the Rolling Stones kind of thing.
There you go. He was the kind of the messiah figure. And let's have a look actually at what, I'm not sure if you've seen this one before, Mark, The Economist, the front page of The Economist last year, the Book of Jobs, and there he is in full messianic pose, So some people are kind of trying to put that in a little bit of perspective. You've got media, actually just before we get to that, this is TechCrunch, one of the big tech sites. They're speaking about him as if he really is a messiah. He gave us computers that spawned industries, phones that paid millions of salaries. He gave mankind gifts innumerable. So it's really excessive language. But actually, I suppose, let's go to the French media for something a little bit more measured and negative. France Info, this is a radio station here, they're pointing out that bad Apple is their headline, and about, I suppose, the perhaps not spotless record that Apple has in terms of its subcontractors in China and elsewhere, where workers have often been said to be working in very bad conditions. There was one particular Foxconn, I think, is the name of the company that is contracted to Apple, produces the iPhone 4, and some have described the conditions that they work under as being something like a concentration camp. So that's the other side of the coin. It wasn't all positive, I suppose, in terms of the environment and in terms of the kind of person he was to work with.
One of the aspects of globalization that all big companies, you can think about Nike, you can think about other big manufacturers who have been sort of banged to rights on that one about sort of globalization and people in other countries working in horrible conditions. But it's an aspect that many people will not be thinking about on the day when obviously the man has died, and they're thinking about the great things he invented, I suppose.
Absolutely. And so there is that kind of, another person who pointed this out was in Rue 89, a Ray sur Image. He spoke about kind of darkness and light, and the two, I suppose, a man with two sides to him. And there was a lot of talk about that. But I suppose just a couple of images to finish on. This is in the Apple store in San Francisco. That was last night. Post-its up all over the Apple store, tributes to him. And one person in France being a little bit cynical, this is in the northern region, Nord-Pas-du-Calais, known for its unemployment. And he said, there's lots of Steves up here, but not that many jobs. So I suppose that's somebody putting it in perspective, right? He's more concerned about getting a job than Steve Jobs.
That is very funny, very funny. I'm sure Mr. Jobs is up there laughing at it as well. James Creedon,
thanks, Mark.
Media Watch, thank you very much indeed. Stay with us with more news to come, including sport. Tony Parker landing from that slam dunk that he's done, moving from the States to play for, well, his club, I suppose you could say, Asvel down at Lyon Villeurbanne. The deal means he's basically paying to play. He's giving his first reactions in the news conference. We've got that coming up.